Hello and welcome back to my stamp studio. So today will be my last video in my series showcasing stamp sets from my stash, creating holiday cards. And I have enjoyed this challenge so much. It has really helped me grow creatively. It has really shown me that we all have a lot of products in our stash that you could easily create for any occasion, but especially the holidays, because it's really our favorite time, isn't it, to create. So I'm going to use the Good Morning Magnolia set here. This set has been around for some time, and I know many of you have it. In addition to this beautiful bloom here, you get some nice sentiments as well. It is a double stamp set. I love this ornate border here. I opted not to use that today, but that easily could have been used in a holiday card. And then also this little individual bloom here as well, I really enjoy. It bundles with the Magnolia dies, and there are quite an array of dies in this set. Not only do you have that cuts out the big blossom, but you have a lot of different leaf dies in here. Here's the little blossom die, and then you also have these that do not coordinate with a stamp, but can be used individually to create a very pretty paper flower. And then I also love this one. It's a center, or almost could be used as a water lily too. Again, another little border accent with this die bundle as well. So still a very nice bundle and set to have in your stamp stash. So today's card is going to start with a mossy meadow card base here. I'm going to pull in some designer series paper that you might not think is holiday-ish, but I think you will agree when the card is finished that it actually is beautiful in a holiday looking card. So it is from the Peony Garden DSP series, and this side is the granite side, and then it also of course has this nice pink side too. But we're going to use the granite side because it's a little more neutral for today's card. I'm going to go ahead and put some Stamp and Seal on the card, or on the back of the DSP here. And go ahead, and that just gets lined up across the card there like that. Now, in one of my past videos, I showed the ornate bundle that had these beautiful dies, and I went ahead and cut this out of some of the brushed gold metallic paper, and I think this is stunning. And I love it with this color combination. I think this looks very holiday-ish. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this, and I think I'm just going to, I'm going to use some Stamp and Seal here for that. I didn't want to use the multi-purpose glue because sometimes you can get beading of the glue that shows, the bumps show through on metallics. So I'm going to go ahead and just place this over to the left-hand side of this card. All right, and here we've already started building our beautiful card. So I'm going to bring in the large Magnolia stamp and a piece of Whisper White here that I'm going to ink up with the gray granite ink pad. Remember that sometimes with bigger stamps, it's much easier to take your ink pad down onto the stamp versus the other way around. Then I'm going to take this. I do have it on one of my black cushion mats here from the Stamparatus. I think you just get a really nice image, especially with these larger stamps. I'm really taking my time and letting that paper soak up that ink because I want to bring in my clear embossing powder and pour over the top of this. Now that is beautiful without this clear embossing powder, but embossing this just really adds a lot of dark detail to it and just makes it more prominent. So I went ahead and I have heated that up, and it's right there. It has just a little bit of a shine to it, which is exactly what we want around the holiday time. Sorry, I got a little embossing powder on there. I didn't want it on my mat. So I went ahead and took the die that coordinates with this and punched it out. And then I stamped another one without embossing it and punched it out as well. And I'm going to use this as a mask. Okay, I'm going to come in here with my paper snips and I'm going to trim the leaves off. And this is super simple to do. Masking is a very fun technique that is super easy to do when you have a die that cuts out and does most of the work for you. All we have to do is just come in here and trim these little leaves off. Now this one has a little bit of a magnolia bloom that comes up over the top of that leaf. So I'm going to I still have my Christmas music on, believe it or not. Even though it is probably after Christmas by the time I'm shooting this. Okay, and then down here, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and trim this extra leaf off. I don't have to, but I'm just going to there, just to make this just the flower, okay? This has just a little bit extra white there. Again, doesn't matter if you trim it off, but it just looks a little nicer there to do that. Okay, so I have embossed this, and I'm going to take this flower and lay it right over the top of that flower there, my embossed flower, I guess I should say. Then I'm going to pull in my Mossy Meadow ink pad and a sponge dauber, and I'm just going to lightly hit these leaves, okay? I want to make sure that that is covering the flower. Go ahead and get a little bit of ink on my dauber, and then gently I'm going to work my way in to get a little bit of color on those leaves. Now, I'm reaching down here for a blotter because when you first put the dauber down with the ink, it's quite dark, and I don't want it to be that dark, okay, when I first put it on there. So I'm just going to kind of work my way from my blotter into my project, okay, just like that. And see how much softer look I get? I'm going to turn this and go ahead and do this again. I'm starting on my blotter and working my way into my project. And that way it gives it just a little bit softer look. It's not that dark look that you see here. Same thing, work my way in. Okay, and then we have one more leaf here. Nice and soft. And then if there's any places you feel like you missed, or if you want a little bit darker somewhere, go back and you can hit that, okay? I'm going to go ahead and take my mask off and see what has happened. I have only hit those leaves. I did not hit the flowers. Now to give those leaves a little bit more definition, I'm going to come in here and carefully go around and hit the edges of those leaves, okay? Remembering that that ink is pretty wet around those edges, so that if your fingers touch it, make sure and clean them so that way you don't get it on anything else with your project here. You'll be upset, okay? Now I see a couple little places that I got a little rushed there, and I have a little bit of green ink that I don't want it there. So I can very easily come in and I can just snip those off, okay? And whether I just did that when I sponged the edges or whether I was doing that earlier when I was blending my dauber, I don't know. But I can easily trim those little sections out because I really want that sharp contrast between the white and the green where the colors are masked off, okay? I see another little place here. Just going to come in, okay, just like that. All right, now I have that sharp contrast between the green. Now, one thing I want to do for this particular project is I want to keep going over here around this bloom, and I actually want to cut this larger leaf off. And I don't want the branch or the stem, okay? I am going to go ahead and save this leaf though and trim it up a little bit so it looks nice. I can trim that branch off. And that's what I ended up with here, just like this. Okay, isn't that pretty? Okay, let's bring our card base back in here and get this put on our card. Just gorgeous. I love these colors together. I think they're very simple, very pretty, and very holiday-ish. So before I attach this, I'm going to take my Wink of Stella. I've used this a lot this year, just to create, again, that little bit of sparkle and shine that we all are looking for at holiday time with our cards. And I'm just going to go around and I'm going to squeeze just a little bit out. When I squeeze it, I'm going to do it right over the center because I know a ton's going to come out. And that was probably more than I needed, but we're going to make this work. And we're going to have a very sparkly flower. I just went to grab a tissue. I am going to blot just a little bit of that off. It's a little much on there. I actually kind of like it sometimes when I do little boo-boos on camera because I think a lot of you are very hard on yourselves and you don't need to be. There's always a way to fix something. And so I can kind of show you some tips and tricks of that. But you can see how that shimmer just makes that flower gorgeous. And I'm just going around now and just hitting the outside edges. As that dries, it will become even more sparkly. Okay, I don't know if my camera is picking that up or not. I'm trying to dab some out of the middle there, okay? But it really just adds to it, makes it so pretty. Okay? All right, now let's figure out how we're going to add this to our card here. I thought it worked best to have this leaf separate, and I just kind of tucked it in up here at the top. And I liked this just kind of on its side like that. Okay, so I'm going to grab some dimensionals and go ahead and place those on the back of my flower here. So pretty. And then my green leaf, I'm just going to take my multi-purpose glue here and just put a little bit down at the base of it so that I can just sneak that right underneath there. Kind of pulling up on it, end of it just a little bit to give this a little bit of dimension again. And I think this is a beautiful card. This video will probably post the Monday after Christmas. I hope you all enjoyed a beautiful holiday. But I thought that this actually would work well as a holiday thank you too for somebody. So I'm not putting a sentiment on this today. I'm just going to leave this plain, but I think that this would make a beautiful holiday thank you card as well. It has that holiday feel, but yet not a traditional holiday card. I went ahead and I added some of our shimmer ribbon, which is in the gold, which I love and thought this looked gorgeous on here. And I didn't think one bow was enough, so I actually made 2 bows. And if you saw, I actually put them on upside down, one of them, and then the other one right side up. And I just love that effect of 2 bows on there. I think it probably would require some additional postage, but I do think that that is well worth it. I can see a simple little thank you here or even a thinking of you on this card. I think it turned out beautiful, and it's a gorgeous holiday card. Even a thank you card for after the holidays. So I hope you enjoyed my video series. I so enjoyed creating for all of you. And we'll be coming to you again in 2021. Look forward to a fabulous Happy New Year, all of you, and another year of fabulous stamping together. Thank you so much.